Okay, back to business. Sorry, I had to do an introduction. My name is Shannon Singleton, and I'm doing my English 285 book video report. I chose to do my report on Catherine Patterson's The Bridge to Teribithia. I really enjoyed this book. I wasn't too keen. It's the summertime. I just bought my first car, so I really wasn't too keen on sitting down and reading the book. But if I had to choose any book to do this with, it definitely would have been The Bridge to Teribithia. I really enjoyed this book. To do a brief autobiography on Catherine Patterson. Catherine Patterson was born on October 31st, 1932 in China, of all places. Growing up, she experienced some difficulty with reading and writing, if you could believe that, after she wrote is known for writing 4 children books, and she published between 1975 and 1980. She won 2 Newbery medals along with 2 National Book Awards, which is very big accomplishment. The thing that I was thinking about while I was reading was the fact that her books tackle themes considered to be adult, such as death and jealousy, which is exactly what I was thinking before I researched her. This is exactly what I was thinking when I was reading The Bridge to Teribithia. Exactly. I really enjoyed this book, but I don't think that I would recommend it to children, like younger children. So I would probably put my age limit right on 12, just to be on the safe side, but other than that, I would, from 12 and up to older people, I would definitely recommend this book. If you haven't read it, to read it. Don't watch the movie first. Read the book so that you can appreciate the art that Mrs. Patterson shows in her books, because her words and the way that she put things was mind-blowing. I was all in. I could not stop reading. Once I started, I finished this book probably in about 3-4 hours. I loved this story. Maybe not even 3-4 hours, maybe 2 at the most, because I just kept reading. This book had me all in. So I would definitely recommend this book. I would recommend it because of the story and the plot. The plot thickened it really did. Like I said, the book had me from the beginning, from the first chapter. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way that Mrs. Patterson put things, and the way that you could tell that she appreciated the words, period, in the story. There were so many parts that I felt that were just amazing. I appreciated the fact that Jess appreciated drawing. He appreciated art. And I think that this story was definitely fictional, because I don't really know any children that appreciate the art and drawing and the smaller things like Jess did. What else can I say? I think that the way that Miss Patterson put the words that Jess was using when he talked about his love and infatuation, per se, for Miss Edmonds was just beautifully put. I really appreciated that. Anytime that Jess talked about Miss Edmonds, I appreciated it. The words they would use, it was like how a woman or a man would feel about his significant other, because it felt like no matter what she did, no matter what she said, no matter what she wore, that person was just perfection for them. It was like there was nothing Miss Evans could do to make her be a better teacher or a better person, I feel. He would even say, like, what did he say? He would even say, whenever he talked to her, or certain things that he said when she sung and the music classes on Friday, he appreciated everything. He said his toes would even get warm when she talked to him, which is beautiful. Another thing that I really could appreciate is the way that Miss Patterson showed the progress of Leslie and Jess's relationship. Because as if you read the story, you would know that Jess didn't really care for Leslie in the beginning. It was just like, okay, well, you ruined things for me. I'm gonna be alright with you, but that's about it. We don't need to be friends. We don't need to be close together. Just leave me alone, basically. But as the story went on, Miss Patterson really showed the appreciation that Jess had for the person that Leslie was. Because in school, Leslie was teased about the small petty things, just like children do in school. But Jess saw past all that. He appreciated Leslie for the person that she was, and didn't want anybody to take him from her. Take her from him, and he didn't think that anybody could live up to being a better friend than he was to her. This is not my favorite part of the book, but there was one part in the story where it was Christmas time, and it was time for Jess to buy gifts for both his family and Leslie. And he was only given a certain amount of money, and it was really hard for him to split the money up between his four sisters, his mom and dad, and Leslie. It would be really hard to do that. So he was very, very worried about what he was going to get for her. And the part that touched me the most was that he said it wasn't that Leslie expected him to get something very expensive. It was just the fact that he had to get her something. And he had to get her something just like he had to eat every day. That was very well put. Very beautiful. I really appreciated that part. And this was basically saying to the reader that getting Leslie something was not an option. It was a priority. It was something that he had to do. He had to show Leslie his appreciation for their friendship. And she did the same in return. He got her something very nice, and she got him something very nice. It was a very well put part of the story. Although there were many, many, many parts of the story that I loved, I picked one in particular. Let me find it in my phone. I chose the part, I think it was in chapter 12 or 13. I'm not going to give it away because I know you're not supposed to give away the story. But it was just, the passage goes like this. It goes here. Leslie belonged to him, more to him than anyone in the world. No one had even asked him. No one had even told him. And now he was never going to see her again. And all they could do was cry. This part was so deep to me. He felt like Leslie belonged to him. That was his best friend. And anything that had to do with Leslie, it was appropriate to ask him first. Don't do anything to my best friend without asking me first. I knew her better than anybody else. So whose place was it to do this without asking me or consulting me first? And this was something that he felt like he was more important in so to speak than her parents. It wasn't a decision for her parents to make. It was for, if they were going to make a decision, they were to ask him first. So I really appreciate this book because he really, 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 really cared about Leslie. And he felt like nobody would appreciate her as a person the way that he did. But it was like he was in shock, in denial. And he couldn't understand that there's no love like a parent's love. Even though maybe her parents weren't around as much as they should have been, or whatever, but you can't. There's no love like a parent's love. So Jess was very jealous and overprotective of Leslie. He didn't want Leslie to think that anybody else could be a better friend than he could be to her. This was a very beautiful, 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 beautiful put together book. There were so many. If I could go on and on about the different ways that Jess put things, and the way that he said things, and the way that he appreciated things. I could go on and on and on. The book was not boring at all. I thought that it would be boring, but it wasn't. I really enjoyed this book. There was heartbreak, there was religion, there was death, there was in-depth conversations that I don't think kids nowadays would have. Well, maybe so because of the way that technology is progressing. But this book had a little bit of everything. I laughed loud at certain parts. I really, really, really enjoy and appreciate this book, and I would recommend this, like I said, to anybody 12 and up. If 12 to 103, I will put it. I really love this book. I appreciated it, and I'm not gonna give anything else away. But I think that it's best for you if anybody has any extra time or just looking for a good read, to read The Bridge to Teribithia. And I didn't talk about the bridge, so I'm going to keep you guessing and hoping that you all would read the book and find out what the bridge is all about. Thanks.